Firstly, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Hang on, no, sorry, I'll ask if there's any amendments to the minutes. Are there any amendments to the minutes, which is item 2, taking us through to page 2/16? If there's no amendments, I would ask for a mover and a seconder, please. Okay, I'll move. Seconded, Councillor Downard. All those in favour? Aye. Carried. Any matters arising from those minutes in item 2, page 2/17?
I'd just like some clarification, Your Worship, on the resolution 4826, page 2/6.
2/6, resolution 4/26. Council authorises staff to proceed with the planning of the relocation of the current Gascoigne Street depot and taxi rank to the general area of Tongariro Street, Story Place. Well, my explanation to that is that staff were going to bring back some options of where it would be possible to have the buses load and unload in the future for us to consider. Would that be correct? Is that right? Yes. Is that right? Yes.
Well, my question, Your Worship, really is around the process, and particularly to do with the town centre structure plan. That is a policy document. We passed resolutions to approve, particularly on the transportation page. That talks about medium to long term, that it may be moved long term. And I think this is in conflict with that policy document. So I just the question is, do we now need to go back and review page 61 of the town centre industrial structure plan, because this resolution, in my opinion, is in conflict to it?
I'll take it in two parts, Councillor Hackling. First part is this in conflict, and I'll hand over to Ms McLeod. Is this in conflict with that Town Centre Taupo CISP page
61? And there's probably other clauses in there that talks about pedestrian.
If it's in conflict, then Councillor Hackling has a point.
Is it
in conflict or not in conflict?
I'm actually going to hand over to Mr Green in this particular situation, because he has a much more detailed knowledge of that plan and can probably answer that question a lot better than I can.
I think it's a debatable point. What the structure plan talks about is investigating the relocation in the medium to long term. You're right. It doesn't identify what year that'll be in.
Right. So, and this resolution doesn't either.
So no, that's right. So there's a debatable point in terms of are we already in the medium to long term, given that we're a couple of years into that structure plan. But regardless, I'd say all that this resolution talks about is doing the investigation of what could happen.
No, it doesn't.
Prior to council deciding anything from there, then the policy implications of that decision would have to be taken. So you'd then have to be saying, like what you did with the last item, here's the information, we want to make this decision, where does that sit with our policy, do we need to amend any policy to make that work?
As I read the resolution, Your Worship, it actually says to proceed with planning of the relocation of the current Gascoigne Street depot. Nothing about investigation. It says the planning.
Well, that's what we authorised you guys.
This resolution is a foregone conclusion that you're going to put, in my opinion, the bus depot either on Tongariro Street or Story Place area. That's what it says to me.
I would have to agree, but that's what you agreed to do, wasn't it, councillors? Yes or no?
The investigation and maybe the wording of the resolution.
We can't get changed now. Resolution's been made.
No, you've passed the resolution.
Did you not give instructions through this resolution to come back in the near future with some planning of a relocation of the Gascoigne Street depot? We did, didn't we not?
You did. Yeah. You did, and I would have always taken the word planning as in coming up with that plan, as in what will it look like. It's still your decision as governance at that stage to say, actually, we don't like that. Yeah, it's not a doing. It's a plan. It's doing the planning of.
You're bringing back some sort of plan in this area where we might be able to load and offload buses, like we actually are at the moment. Because I went past the ice site at 10 o'clock this morning. There was 4 buses there loading people in and out.
Correct.
To the ice end. But it's still our decision. We mightn't even like the plan or not want to go ahead with it, and it's not in the LTP.
I can.
My only concern is that the structure plan, which was a very lengthy, drawn-out policy document that must have cost our council in excess of $100,000, which, and I know it did, which states that we're not going to do a lot for the short to medium term, and it also refers to that we may relocate it long term. Now, when we was going through that document, medium to long term was 15 to 25 years. Here we are, we're going to investigate looking at the planning within the first year of all this council adopting that policy document. It just don't. I'm sure there's a lot more important planning tools that we should be doing as apart from looking at relocating the bus stop.
From my memory, it was a unanimous resolution that you wanted to see some plans to relocate it. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I wasn't at the meeting, admittedly, so
I'm trying to get a refresh of my own mind here.
We had, yes, I put the motion here on the understanding that we've considered different locations, and this was the best location to produce a plan, not to say that it's final, but to produce a plan, and that's why my name's down.
The plan still has to come back to here.
The plan has to come back to here.
It can be adopted to happen in 15 years, or it can be kicked out.
Yeah, and not four plans like we had four options, but one plan. Yeah.
And Barry, it was to do with the leasing options of Gascoigne Street, the timing of that and things like that were going through there, so it was all time to look at it with all that coming up as well, to say that maybe continue on there for a while, but let's just put an investigated plan together. So it was to do with the timing.
I understand all that, but when you have gone through a document that's taken more than 2.5 years, I think, Gareth, to produce, and within the first year of adopting that document, you're changing it. Okay, I'm just making a point, Your Worship.
I accept your point, and you probably are to a degree changing it. The only thing we're changing is that council staff is going to bring us back a plan for consideration.
Okay.
That's the only part we've changed, is to bring back a plan for consideration. And hey, it might be a doozy of a plan, and we might want to do it next year or the year after or something. But there ain't nothing in stone at this stage. But there is a plan.
And the plan is
for the
future.
Hang on, we've got to take it through the floor, please. Councillor Williams, after me.
I actually, I think that the public has been misled by this resolution, because as I understood it, what we asked for was suggestions for the council officers to come back with suggestions for alternative locations, not for a plan. That's what my understanding of that resolution was, that the council officers
I've just
come
had
back
something
to
pointed
us.
out to me. If we go back to our standing orders, and I am the chair, so I accept Councillor Heckling's point of view, but I'm going to, and his opinion, and I'm going to read something out here in your standing orders. No discussion on minutes. 3/17/3. No discussion may arise on the substance of minutes at any succeeding meeting except as to their correctness. Now that's correctly recorded as to what was moved on the day. Correct? Thank you.
So, Your Worship, I get no chance in commenting on that particular resolution.
No, I accepted your comment, but I'm not opening it up for general discussion.
Okay.
I accept your comment.
Okay.
I think your
Thank
fellow
you.
councillors have.
Okay.
But we must also remember that when that was adopted, it was a different council too, and this is this
No,
council.
sorry. No. The town centre structure plan was adopted by this council last February.
Worked on by, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's an overlap there, but this council also did unanimously decide on that
Okay.
resolution.
Yep.
And all it will be is a plan coming back for consideration.
I just wanted to clarify in my own mind, Your
I
Worship.
allow that.
Thank you.
So, where the hell was that? Somewhere there. I didn't mean to say that word, my apologies. Webcam is on. Okay, so is there anything further or matters arising? And it does actually stay in discussion there, Mr. McCann. Any more from that being done? I'll put the motion, please. All those in favour?
There is one thing.
I'm sorry, Councillor Williams.
On page 2/5, subsequent to that resolution, 4824, I would, we were, as far as I'm aware, we were never really informed, when I look back on it, as to how that 400,000 was going to affect the $2 million budget.
I've asked you for amendments. You don't want to amend anything in that resolution, do you? Because we did that a couple of minutes ago. Are you wanting to amend something in the resolution?
No, it was just matters arising.
Okay, matters arising. So that the information be received, and it be noted that 400,000 has been used from the AC Bars refurbishment budget to remedy the urgent issues, which were the bores that went dry in about June or July last year, or went cold, or whatever the words are. So what did you want to know from there?
The question is, how does that 400,000 affect the $2 million budget that we've approved for the covering of the indoor pool?
It's reduced by 400,000. It's been reduced by 400,000.
Eric, I can recall it was explained to us that with the budgets that were already in place, that Gareth and the team had in front of them, it was just going to be taken out of the existing budgets. It was going to be out of the existing budgets.
It's not.
Yeah.
It was. That was already in the budgets.
Well, that's what this resolution
It wasn't, because we've gone out in the long-term plan to ask for options, so the existing budget doesn't.
This came out of the 2011 and 2012 budget, which you already set. We had to move things into the next year to be able to do that this year. That this year has been set a long time ago. This year finishes on the 30th of June.
But
budget.
Yeah, which was to achieve certain outcomes, and of course now with the 400,000 taken out, we won't be able to get the outcomes that were meant to be covered in that $2 million.
Is that right?
Absolutely. So it comes into the phasing of it. So we always had some money sitting in this year's annual plan, the year that we're currently in, which is where this $400,000 came out of. And the rest of the work is continuing over this year and into next year as well, which will be the next LTP process. So yes, the whole project, if you look at the whole AC bars, will have costed an extra 400,000 to what you previously thought. But in terms of where that budget line comes from, it's within existing budgets. So we haven't overspent by 400,000 this year.
Yeah.
Could you make sure your speakers on, please? We get a lot of complaints about people watching webcam cannot hear rebuttals and statements and things that are made. So we could just remember that.
Yeah, I guess the observation is that 400,000, we're 400,000 over budget because that bore replacement was not in the refurbishment budget. I guess that has to be acknowledged. Well, that was the question with the outcomes we expect. The 400,000 will be eroding the outcomes from that 2012 budget.
Unfortunately, you're probably right to a degree, but it just moves it to the next financial year. But if you're talking about total budget, yes, you're quite right. The total budget will be more because simple fact is we don't have an AC baths unless we have hot water. The bores failed and we had to put in new bores. The bores are in. Everybody's swimming happily again in reasonably warm water. So.
Yeah, I just guess the public need to know that we've had a $400,000 blowout. It hasn't actually come out of the refurbishment budget. That's the point.
It's been made, Councillor Williams. Okay, anything more on that? All those in favour? Carried, thank you. Moving now to special purpose ordinary meeting, which we held on the 16th of December. It was a small one. It was about the joint Waikato River joint management that we willingly and wanted to partake in, and we nominated certain people, etc., to be on that. So are there any amendments to those small minutes? Any amendments at all? There being no amendments, I move in a seconder to those. Sorry.
Where are we?
Sorry. What have you done to me here? Yeah, we've got that small SPO. Right, sorry, go back to 2/16. That's why I was talking about one very small set of minutes. Okay, if there's no amendments to those, they're attached to agenda item number 2. I'd ask for a mover and a seconder, please. Moved, Councillor Downard, seconded, Councillor Kirk, all in favour? So carried. Any matters arising from those? Being not, now move to agenda item number